Nice.
What's going on, folks? Welcome to another episode of Charm City Heavyweights Podcast, brought to you by the Great Eight Sports Memorabilia in Parkville, Maryland. I am the host, Matt Sugar. With me, as always, Josh Merrill, my co-host, my brother from another. What's going on, Josh?
What's up, Matt? Coming live to the man cave. From the man cave, I'm sorry. I'm about to watch this documentary again. I'm probably gonna watch it 50 times.
I was tempted to watch it again today. So this is our 30 for 30 Bullies of Baltimore ESPN NFL Films review. I have a lot to talk about with it. I know that we've been talking about it all day since we started watching it. Um, I think it was incredibly well done on the part of ESPN,
It's the best
and
thing ESPN does. ESPN does. It's the
it,
best thing they do, hands down.
absolutely, man. They are incredible when it comes to putting these stories together. Not just about our Ravens, but other than that, my favorite one that they ever did was the two-part series on the University of Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Uh, it was the Ric Flair one was good as well. I I was a little bit emotional towards the end of it.
I think
Uh,
everybody was. I was crying like a little baby down here.
I was. It
They
choked
didn't
me
have
up
to
when
drop the confetti and shit, man. When the confetti started falling and shit, man. It
that
felt
was
like the
that
game
was
just happened
cheesy.
again. I
It
liked
was
it,
a little.
man. It was
I
made
like
it,
it.
it added to the
It was
emotion.
it was cheesy, but I liked it.
Yeah. It's cool.
What really got my emotions though was when they just had the last two letters on the screen that said "For Goose."
Yeah.
That he was. You could definitely tell that he was the lifeblood of that team, and it's crazy looking back 21 years later now.
Yeah.
21
That's
yeah,
crazy.
21
God, I'm old.
22 years later, and Ray and Shannon look so young. Dilfer looked young, and just seeing the baby face Chris McAllister and Dwayne Starks, those guys were like rookies or second year players at that point.
Yeah.
To put into perspective how great that defense was, you really got to look at like how menacing they were and how much fear they instilled in everybody they played. Seeing Corey Dillon tap out was one of my favorite moments of the entire thing, where he refused to go back in. He was 225, 230 pounds. He was a wrecking ball,
I don't
and
blame him.
we beat him into submission. He had no running lanes. Seeing a lot of the stories from the perspective of the players that were on the stage, it was really eye opening to see how much of a unit they really were in terms of brotherhood and cohesiveness. What did you take away from it initially?
It was emotional. Took me back to my childhood. I was in the eighth grade when they won that Super Bowl. They were such a new franchise. We're lucky to get a Super Bowl. What was that? Our sixth year or fifth year?
Fifth year in existence. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
our fifth year.
that's crazy. And we got a Super Bowl that fast. It brought back a lot of memories, and it reminded you. What stuck out most to me is how much the media hated us. The Ravens fans, we held that with us for a long time, and it pretty much died down when we won in 2012. Um, but the hate that year, like it made me hate Steve Young's guts, man. And I
Phil
forgot
Sims
about
too.
that. Yeah, they were never, on our side. No one gave us a chance because the league started to change even back then. It was starting to be more of a finesse passing league, and to see a team come in and literally play Jim Brown's football, you know, and pound the rock and beat you, 10-3. It was amazing. It's the best defense ever. I don't care. I may be biased, but I know there's been some other great ones. Legion of Boom. Tampa had some good defenses, Steel Curtain, all that shit. But that's the best defense. Come on, bro.
I
We went 5 games. What was it? 5 games without a touchdown, and we
and
won
we and
four of
we
the games.
I think it was like three. I think we won 3 games of that 5 game stretch. I'll even though I'm biased, you got to look at not even the stats. I don't care about the takeaways
And they
or
never had that ugly game, like the
no.
'85 Bears had that ugly game versus the Miami. We never had that where Miami tore them up, scored like 30 points on them or something. We never had that ugly game. And it's a
10,
shame that the Giants got that fucking kick return because that score should be 34-0.
10 they allowed 10 points a game. 10.3 if you want to be exact. They allowed the equivalent of a touchdown and a field goal every game. And that was only because a couple of those games were high scoring.
Ravens win 10 that year. It might be a blowout.
Exactly. And
score 10, it might be a blowout.
It's incredible that they gave up one offensive touchdown in the playoffs, and that was in Tennessee.
No game was really close. The toughest game was
No.
the Titans game.
It was, but we took their will from them.
And it never felt, uncomfortable. I don't ever remember feeling in doubt that we were going to win.
We took their will, flat out, 100%. We took their will. And
you young Ravens fans, you all may not understand, but back in the day, the old AFC Central, that was a rivalry. Yeah, Pittsburgh's always been Pittsburgh, and they are what they are. But Tennessee and Baltimore, that was a rivalry, man. We hated them; they hated us.
We were the
it was
first
a hard
team.
hitting affair, and the bulk of our that rivalry, they won most of the games. But that year, we just had their fucking number.
You're right. That was the epitome of the rivalry before they broke down into 4 divisions, and we were the first team to go into Adelphi Stadium and
get a win
in the regular season. And then we went back there again in the playoffs and did it all over again. And there's a couple of things that stick out to me about what went on during the show. Is that Trent Dilfer said that he talked to Greg Williams, who was the defensive coordinator at the time, and Williams admitted to him that he had somebody steal the playbook.
Dude.
Yeah, he
dropped the bomb.
That was crazy.
That's got to be illegal or something, man.
It's definitely
games
illegal.
Are betted on. These games are betted on. These are wagered games, even back then. Fuck.
What's even wilder is that the Ravens still won.
No, in spite.
They won in spite, and the crazy thing was that Tennessee knew what was coming and they couldn't stop it.
Ray said, "Eddie broke, so I broke." That's America's game when he said that, but that shit gives me tingles when Ray said that. And that's when the ball just went right.
What he said in the 30 for 30 is that all he had on his mind was running through Eddie. And seeing him take that ball out of Eddie's hands. It was a bad throw. Steve McNair had a terrible throw. I'm not even going to sit there and sugarcoat that Ray made some incredible break on the ball.
No, the ball landed right in his basket.
The ball landed right in his hands. But to see Eddie try to tackle him at the ankles and lay face down on the field, and Ray takes it to the house, and you could hear a pin drop in that entire stadium. To see them, like, it almost made me hate the Titans all over again, because the rivalry kind of reignited in 2019 when they beat us in what should have been our 3rd Super Bowl season, if not 4th, depending how you look at it. And then the 2020 year, and still to this day, there's that natural hate for one another. So,
what about when they were the number 1 seed with what's his name, Collins, and Flacco's rookie year, and we go up there and beat them?
Yeah, you're right.
In Tennessee, that was a monster win, man.
That was
a good game, dude. People forget about that game. That's one of my favorite Ravens games. I go back and watch that a lot. We had no chance of winning that game, no chance of being in that game, and we went up there and fucking won.
And another thing that I've really enjoyed
the following week, but shit, you just knew Flacco was going to get one, that year. Like I said, we lost to Pittsburgh, but you just knew he was going to get one, and I was pretty confident after that season we were going to get a ring out of jail.
What really made me appreciate that team even more is that the swagger wasn't led necessarily by the players. Billick was an arrogant bastard, bro. And I loved every second of watching that. I loved Brian Billick.
When he
man.
said, "Turn every fucking camera off," and then of course no
So-
one, that shit's just sitting down, and he's like, "Fuck the Titans." I was like, "Oh shit." Did you know about that? Was that new? Because I had never seen
No,
that clip.
I saw that before.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember where it was. It wasn't in the America's game.
About to
I
say,
think-
I've never ever seen that.
Brian let them be them, and that was the biggest thing as the coach. He let the personalities, just kind of flourish on their own, and I appreciated that because
Well, he admitted that Ray walking off the field like, "Not now, Brian."
yeah, and he let Ray just kind of like do his thing.
And Brian
And-
went, "Oh, all right."
I want to talk about one particular moment with Brian Billick that really.
Dude's looking his age a little bit though. He's starting to.
Oh, they all are. I mean,
Yeah.
that was 21 years ago, man. 22 years
I know.
ago.
But Billick especially is starting to.
Well, Billick was like 60 when he was coaching us. So, like,
Yeah, I know he's old. I know.
I
I'm
mean,
just
he's
saying,
probably,
he's starting
in
to
the 60s or 70s now, honestly. But
Yeah, he went
when
in his fucking
he-
70s when he coaches. He'd be 110.
No, I'm saying right now.
Oh, okay.
One thing that stood out about the Billick thing, and we've seen this for years, is his opening media day press conference with
Dude
the
was an
national
animal on the
media.
mic, man. He would have been a hell of a promo in wrestling.
when he said that he wasn't going to retry the Ray Lewis case, and
Yeah.
he pretty
What
much
makes you
told
qualified?
that I have the podium and you're here to listen to me.
Yeah, he
That-
was right. We can
that
say
was-
that.
That's arrogance personified. But see, the thing is, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I have a bit of an arrogant streak in me myself, and you know that. So
Oh, yeah.
as an arrogant person, I appreciated seeing willful arrogance on the part of Brian Billick, and the fact that the first person to stand up and say something was Tony Kornheiser, because I hated Tony Kornheiser on ESPN,
Yeah.
on Around the Horn, on pardon the interruption. I never liked him. And I'm not saying that because of what was on there, but I just thought that he was always a pompous asshole. I still think he is, even though he's not in the media spotlight anymore. But it was nice seeing, Billick just he flamed the entire media scrounge of reporters that were there, and he was so dismissive. He's next question.
I know. Did
And
you
it
see
was-
Art Modell's face when he said "fuck the Titans"? He was like, he's like shocked. His old ass in there, man.
And
Put his ass in the Hall of Fame. That's a fucking travesty.
it's a fucking travesty. It is such a travesty, and
You
it's
kept your fucking colors. You kept your records.
history.
You never don't. Yeah, your history. I mean, come on.
You
What more
kept
do
all
want?
your
We lost our
NFL
Super Bowls. We lost our championships before the Super Bowls. You don't hear Baltimore Ravens 4-time Super Bowl champion. Like, we lost all that shit. We got
lost
one little
everything.
cube in the fucking Hall of Fame in Canton for the Baltimore Colts. They got more history here than they do there. It's terrible what happened.
It really is, and it kills me when I hear Cleveland Browns fans say that that first Super Bowl should have been theirs.
Yeah, it was 5 years later. Ozzie wasn't your GM. That's to shut the fuck up about that. Like, that drives me nuts, bro, when people say that. It was 5-6 years later. Ozzie wasn't your GM. He was a rookie GM when he came here. So that doesn't mean, okay, you would have had Matt Stover. That's all it's guaranteed.
I mean,
Come on.
we had, I think, a third, maybe a fourth of our
You wouldn't
team
have
was
Ray
made up.
Lewis. You wouldn't have.
There's
you
no
wouldn't have
telling where Ray
Ogden.
Lewis would have been. There's no that team would have probably 95% of that team would have probably never been on the same squad together.
Exactly. It's the dumbest thing. I could see if it was the next year. Like, damn, you fuckers. But no, it was a long time, a half of a decade.
It was so they were so it was still fresh in Cleveland's mind because the year before
Matt Stover.
they got
Matt
their team
Stover
back.
was the only Brown.
No, he wasn't. There was a couple of guys that were Browns.
I know, Matt. God damn, you gotta fucking
but the thing,
fact check everything I say.
know what the fuck you're talking about. You're
It
better
was a fucking expression almost.
all the
Just go
respect.
ahead.
Nope. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to correct you, Josh. I'm
You're fine. Go
so
ahead.
sorry. I was watching the team, watching the team that we had that year, and you forget that there were some players on there that were incredible that you really didn't have an appreciation for. Kim Herring was an absolute animal.
Gets
And
no
Teresa-
love. He was
no
number
love.
20, right? Was
Number
he
20
20?
before Reed. He was 20 before
Yeah.
Reed.
Yeah.
And
A lot of people mistaken think Reed was on that team.
Reed was a junior at Miami when we won the Super Bowl.
Yes, he had another year or two free game.
Yeah,
2 years.
he was a
It was
fourth
Heap then
year
Reed,
junior.
right? Yeah.
It was Jamal, Heap, Reed, Bowler were the draft picks those 4 years.
Bowler, Suggs. Don't forget Suggs.
Yeah, Bowler, Suggs. And then we didn't have a first
God, I
round
was
pick in
happy when we
04.
drafted Terrell Suggs. Man, I was happy. I wanted him so bad because for some reason, every time I was watching ESPN, his last year, he came out his junior year,
Sophomore
I
year.
think, sophomore year.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, anytime I watch ESPN, it was showing Terrell Suggs highlights. It just must have been.
And he had,
fake.
I think he had 24 sacks his sophomore year.
Yeah, and I was like, man, damn, like he's God. I hope the Ravens get him, goofy looking bastard. And what do you know, Kyle Bowler, damn it. And then Terrell Suggs like, oh shit, and he was a guy that just came on immediately.
And we gave up our first round pick of 2004, and I think our first draft pick that year was Dwan Edwards from Notre Dame.
Yeah, I met him a few times.
Yeah. But it was nice, seeing some people that you forget about, Patrick Johnson, and
we got it. Don't forget McAllister. Don't forget.
Oh yeah,
that.
we'll talk about him. I'll let you take that, buddy. But seeing Brandon Stokely run down the seam and catch the first touchdown of the Super Bowl on Jason Sehorn,
and people forget Dilfer came out of that game for a little bit, and Banksy came back in.
Yeah. I think he got hurt. I think it was his
ribs. Second quarter, I think.
Yeah, I think
he
it was
hurt
his
wrist
ribs
or something.
Yeah, it was either his wrist or his ribs.
Like, everybody was like, "Oh no, don't put Tony in."
I still remember where I was when we won that Super Bowl. My parents had a Super Bowl party, and do you remember like the big projector, the big projector television my dad had? In the living room that we watched the pay-per-views on, where he had like the wooden doors that would slide and then go back into the entertainment system.
Yeah, it was nice.
And my mom gave me and my brother pots and pans to bang on when we won. I don't think I went to sleep that night.
Yeah, y'all were children back then.
Motherfucker, you were a child too.
Shit, I was a grown man almost.
You had just as much facial hair then as you do now.
I was in 8th grade, dude. I was about to be in high school.
Yeah, I think I was in 7th grade.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, I was in 7th grade.
So you guys are young pots and pans.
I know that you really found this as a point of contention because a lot of it has to do with Harbaugh. And I know we're not really going to talk about Harbaugh and the Ravens of this generation, but Chris McAllister, I know that really bugged you.
It's a travesty. It's a shame. Ravens should be ashamed. But I don't know the details of whatever he did or why exactly Harbaugh hated him, because you never really heard much out of behavior wise as like a player out of McAllister right before Harbaugh. I mean, everybody knew he was kind of a prick, but he never was like a guy, like a bad locker room guy or whatever. So I don't know what he did. But he's the greatest cornerback in Ravens history. It may be Humphrey. It may be Humphrey one day, but right now it's Chris McAllister. I mean, even if Humphrey overlaps him, he'll be the second greatest corner. He was a shutdown corner, man. What was he here for 8 seasons?
Yeah, I think it was 8 or 9
Why
years.
Why is he not in the Ring of Honor? Why is he not in the Ring of Honor? It's no reason he shouldn't. I mean, Ernest Briner's in the fucking Ring of Honor.
Well, Ernest Briner was also our first running back, though.
I know, dude, but whatever, dude. C-Mac belongs in the Ring of Honor. He was a great corner. He gets no national love. Like, dude,
I understand
shutdown fucking corner. He was a physical fucking corner,
It wasn't even the fact that he was shut down. It was the fact that he tackled like a fucking linebacker.
Yes, he did, and he would shut you down. And how he's not even talked about nationally. He's forgotten, dude. I know he was on that show where it told us, he's broke and all that. I hope he's recovered. That story came out a long ass time ago. But
Yeah,
he belongs in the Ring of Honor. He belongs on basically like a Legends contract in WWE. When you're in the Ring of Honor, them guys get paid. The team wins a championship, you get a ring. You know,
and
and the Ravens take care of guys. It's just weird. Like Jamal Lewis, they took care of him, brought him in it. C-Mac belongs in the hall in the Ravens Ring of Honor.
I'm
He's not included in nothing. No, no. What is it? Help me out, man. Preseason, the preseason. No, like preseason appearances in the booth, nothing like that. Like, come on.
well. They
You don't even hear his name. He was barely on the documentary.
I can't remember what show I was listening to where McAllister pretty much said the only reason he signed with the Saints is because he was broke already. And that's sad that you're an active NFL player and you're broke. He said he was in so much debt, and his debt to income ratio was so high that he had to play or he was going to be in even more trouble.
Yeah, that's why it's not happening as much as it used to. But back then, the NFL didn't have all those money management classes, those money management officers who are actually
and
watching
the
how these guys
and
are
all that.
spending. Yeah, and they even got these people who are watching how they're spending, and then like they can warn you like, hey, you better chill out. But when you can show you make millions of dollars, you're going to get loans.
Yeah, and high
So
lines
that's
of
how
credit.
that happens. Yep, and lines of credit and. That's sad because I think I've read when they had that documentary I watched how he went broke. It said he made like $73 million in his career. So after taxes, that's like $48 million he should have.
Another thing I was sad about, and I said this to you, and I know they showed him. They did a disservice to Jermaine Lewis that year. I mean, in the documentary as well. He's arguably the greatest Ravens return man in the history of the franchise.
I don't know, bro. I think Jacoby bumped him for that.
I see. The thing is, there's recency bias, and I know they're both Super Bowl champions, but
both ran one back in the Super Bowl.
They did.
But Jermaine didn't make one of the most famous catches in not only Ravens. It's the most in Ravens history, but in all of football history.
We never used Jermaine though.
But a catch. Oh, they tried using Jermaine. Oh, hold on. Whoa.
They didn't.
Yes,
No,
they did try.
They did
Oh
not.
shit! Yes, they did.
That year they did not. They
Matt,
did
he
not
played
do
here
that.
more than that year, man.
What I'm saying is, Jacoby was wide receiver 3 on the team
and made one of the best plays in football history. And 50 years from now, they'll still be talking about the Miracle. Well, you can't say that Jacoby didn't surpass him on that list.
I'm not saying that he didn't make the greatest play in the world, but what Jermaine went through that year and the performances that he put on solely as a return man, they used Travis Taylor, Brandon Stokely, Shannon Sharp, and Patrick Johnson before they would give Jermaine Lewis the ball.
Dude,
think about
he was a
that.
Fucking return man. Okay, so when he left here, he went to the Texans. He was in that expansion thing, right?
Draft. They put Sharper in the expansion draft.
Okay, and then I believe in Jacksonville they tried lining him out wide, and it didn't go so well. And then they cut him, and then the Ravens tried to get him back, and he said no. I remember reading it in the paper. He didn't want to come back here.
He was broken down at that point. I mean, that's different.
Man, you're just making excuse after excuse.
I'm not making an excuse.
All right.
But you're looking at what Jacoby did as a wide receiver, and you're correlating it to his returns. It's two separate things. I'm not saying that Jermaine is one of the best wide receivers we've ever had. I'm saying he's the best return man we ever had. And think about the return man that we had. We had Jermaine. We had Devin Hester at one point.
Whoa!
No, it was quick. It was quick.
Hester.
We didn't have that Devin. We didn't have the prime Devin Hester, but we had Yamon Figures, who was pretty good as a return man. Nothing else.
Hey man, I friend requested him on Facebook.
So did I. He was one of the fastest wide receivers.
Some big catches too as a Raven.
Yeah,
that Texans game, I remember he went off.
I think he had what 2 touchdowns that game, over 100 yards.
Yeah, he had a big ass game.
So
Number 17, your mind figures.
Was he 17 or 16?
Oh shit,
He was 16.
might have been 16. Yeah. All right. All
So
right, spell check, Matt.
never mind. I'm not gonna do this with you.
Proceed,
I,
sir.
I wanted to go back to Goose though, Josh. I wanted to go back to Goose
sad,
because
man. He didn't look well, man. He looked kind of pale.
I didn't really pay attention to that as much, but seeing him talk about the season after the Super Bowl, when they like that last 13 minutes of the show where they talked about the 2001 season, about the inaugural Hard Knocks, and you could see how much it pissed off Saragusa that we didn't bring Dilfer back, and that they wanted to go and sign Elvis Gerback, who ended up fucking retiring 1 year into a 4-year contract.
I know they did this before,
douchebag.
But Matt, when Jamal, I know they already had signed Gerback, but honestly,
Jamal got hurt.
Jamal got hurt, so we couldn't get away with the Dilfer game anyway. So that would have been fucked. We wouldn't. People forget that year after the Super Bowl, we not only made the playoffs, but we went down to Miami and won a game, and we lost a tight win in Pittsburgh. We almost come back and win that game. We ended up losing in Shitburg. But it wasn't that much of a failed experiment.
I'm not saying it was a failed experiment,
but the Dilfer running the ball, we had Jason Brookins that year, dude. The
and
dude
Terry
left
Allen.
town, thought he was, and Terry Allen, who was 150. But Jason Brookins left town thinking we caught him because his playbook was missing. But they were just fucking updating it. Like, dude, why would you think you're cut? We only got a couple running backs. Like, where the hell are you going?
And
Motherfucker got a plane.
Not a lot of people know this, but Kelly Gregg was the one that tore Jamal's ACL.
Damn.
Nobody, because he wasn't wearing number 97 at the time. He was number 73. And Kelly Gregg made a standard tackle, but it just that he buckled Jamal's knee. And I think that when they were...
the city was in shock, man. You may be too young to remember, but the city was
stop that bullshit. Oh, my God, stop that bullshit. I was a grade bastard. I wasn't 8 years old.
The city was in shock, man. It was a hard time.
It was a shocking blow, and it's crazy because we got rid of Priest that year.
But we didn't know what Priest was, man. He was here, but he wasn't.
At the same time, would you have preferred Priest or would you have preferred Terry Allen, who had to fucking...
No, Priest.
He looked like a mummy after every game in the locker room, wrapped up in shit.
Years old. He was 100 years old. His days were done.
When Goose talked about Ozzie having to find another quarterback, being cash strapped the way that he was with the salary cap, and he said, I knew we were going to blow up the team and that we should have had 2 or 3 more Super Bowls with that squad together. I remember we cut Shannon Sharp. He went back to Denver.
Shannon Sharp played another year instead of Rod Woodson.
Yeah, they played 2001.
Yeah.
But I'm saying after that 2001 season, they cut Sharp. They cut... he went to Denver. Rod Woodson went to the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
They got rid of a lot of people. They got rid of Sam Adams. They got rid of Webster. They got rid of Sharper to the expansion. Yeah, Sharper went in the expansion draft. Peter Boulware didn't hang around much longer. Jermaine went. They got rid of
I think Boulware was around for a while. Boulware was like 07, 05, or 06.
Was he that one?
Yeah, he played a while. He just wasn't what he was. I'm telling you. I was just reading about it.
He had those 2 knee surgeries.
Yeah.
I remember he
was never the same. Yeah, he was never the same.
Prairie retired. They got rid of Burnett.
Yeah.
So they switched from a 4-3 to a 3-4, so our personnel completely changed. Because that was right around the time where we had Ed Hartwell and Kelly Gregg, and Nada came in 06 and all that. But to see how pissed off Goose was that we didn't keep that team together. That was kind of heart wrenching as a full grown adult, and now like when seeing it from his perspective, how much everybody loved Trent, and for Trent to admit that he was bitter about the whole thing until about 4 years ago, I'm glad that he isn't as. I'm glad that he became less bitter enough to do this show and really reconnect, because that was the last time they were ever going to see Goose, and they didn't know it. And the way Goose defended him in the show, it was nice to see that they all got to say goodbye essentially.
Yeah, that was a special team that it brought the city together, and just everything went. I would have liked to seen that team together a little longer too, but honestly, dude, we did strike lightning in a bottle that season. That style of football wasn't working at that point in time. Big run game, strong defense, but it just worked out. It was just our year. Once we got hot, and it was just our year.
Yeah, and then we
But
had.
I don't know if that would have struck again. That was like everything went our way, dude.
We became a powerhouse for the early part of
I
the
remember
2000s.
Goose was getting old. Woodson wasn't.
Oh, they were. I mean, Woodson had already had what, a dozen years in when he won a Super Bowl with us.
12.
I think he played a decade in Pittsburgh.
I always thought that he had a ring in Pittsburgh, but no, that's his only ring. His Ravens ring.
No, he didn't win a ring in Pittsburgh. He didn't win a ring in San Francisco. I think he played in San Francisco too.
I think he started in San Francisco and then went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to see, the how they like that defense is like one of the examples of how they've legislated the violence and the hitting out of the game. There's and from the Ravens defense on, with the Tampa Bay defense a year or two later, and then you had.
You can't play defense like that anymore.
Oh, no, you can't. They would be the most fined and suspended defense in the history of the NFL.
I like what Trent Dilfer said. He said, today's quarterbacks, no offense. He was like, but they don't impress me. He was like, anybody can play quarterback if you can't be hit.
You're right. I agree with him. But I know that there was the Legion of Boom. There was the 2008 Steelers squad that wreaked havoc on us.
Boo. Why would you say the Steelers?
But that's the truth, though. Their 2008 defense was probably a top 10 defense of all time. That defense where they had prime Lamar Woodley, prime James Harrison, prime Troy Polamalu.
Matt, why don't you just start waving your fucking yellow tail?
I'm saying, like, they beat us in the playoffs that year. So I remember that defense. You might be too young to remember that.
Bastard. I think that was like one of the last games in that stadium, right? Wasn't that the old Pittsburgh Stadium we lost that game in?
No, I think that it closed. That was Three Rivers Stadium. I think that closed earlier.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I think the year before. I think that was like.
I thought it was like 02 or 03.
Oh, all right. I was just curious
because I know Heinz. We had all of our battles in Heinz Field with them, like in the Harbaugh era.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So that would have been like it's Heinz Field first season or something that year.
It was really early on in Heinz Field, but the Ravens like set the standard for like what the greatest defense ever should be compared to, and I'm biased. You're biased about it, but the '85 Bears had a fantastic defense.
I'm not biased. They're just the best. I mean, they're the greatest defense. They didn't have that shit game. They every game they were on the money.
Still, my favorite hit that they showed a couple times, and they showed it in the America's game, is Jamie Sharper hitting Ike Hillard over the middle in the Super Bowl, where he just completely decked him, and it was that made me emotional. And a lot of people don't remember this, but James Trapp was like a hell of a nickel cornerback, man. That dude was.
And he was around for a while. He hung around a while.
He hung around a minute. Yeah. He was kind of like Corey Graham before Corey Graham got there, except he could tackle better.
Yeah.
I had it was a nice stroll down memory lane for the the 2000 squad, and Jamal looks good, even though that you can tell Jamal's banged up, and that CTE is probably starting to catch up to him a little bit because he took a lot of punishment.
Yeah,
We
I
still
heard
should
him
have won
say
the
once
fucking.
he wished he would have ran out of bounds more.
Yeah, but
I mean,
that's
these guys that they do pay a price, man. It is
that
their
2000
body.
that 2006 year, man. That should have been Super Bowl number 2 when he ran for that 2,000 yards, and we went 13-3 that year, right?
Yeah.
That should have been a Super Bowl year.
The Ravens should have about 5 Super Bowls in their history. No
And
shit.
Yeah.
You got the Flakegate. That should have been. We would have beat the Colts. The Colts didn't belong in the AFC Championship. I honestly feel like we would have handled the Colts just fine.
Honestly,
that should have been a Super Bowl team.
2000, 2006, 2011, 2012,
Eric McNair.
2019. We should have 5.
Yeah.
Lamar and them fucking choked, and I'm still never going to get over that.
Never going to get over because we were the best team in football by far. And I strongly believe we would have marched into Kansas City and got the win.
I'm not even. I don't even want to think about it. I'm so fucking upset. And
now this motherfucker wants 100 more million.
I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about this shit. This is not a Lamar show.
We're not even going to be able to sign the draft picks, Lamar. Fuck.
I don't want to talk about this because we know where this is going, and I don't want to talk another fucking hour about Lamar Jackson. I'm over this whole saga. I just want this shit to end. I don't care when. I don't care how. I don't care by what means. If you're going to sign him, fucking sign him. If you're going to trade him,
it's going to be over soon, my brother.
Get it over with. Get it done. Because
it's going to be over soon.
This dude is starting to show what he's worried about. And I understand that it's a business, but this is not good business on our end.
The Ravens have made fair offers. Come on, dude. Like, it is.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm so pissed off about the whole thing.
Like, I think he wants $1 billion. Guaranteed. Shit. And he wants something else for somebody else.
I love the dude, but this is not going to end well. And this whole city is going to have a fucking mutiny. Every Lamar Jackson fan.
They're going to go nuts, dude.
They're going to have a meltdown. Twitter's going to go down, and so is Facebook. It's going to be meltdown city when Lamar Jackson is sitting at a table in Atlanta or in New York wearing a different jersey, announcing that he signed for $300 million guaranteed somewhere else. And meanwhile, we're going to get 5 draft picks and a player or some bullshit that a team is willing to give up, which our window of being competitive isn't going to be, closed like people were thinking.
No, it's not. The run game's there, the O-line's there, the strong defense is there. It's just a quarterback, just a decent quarterback, and some wideouts.
And I hope to God that this compels that shitty owner in Cleveland to give that sack of shit Joe Burrow $55 million a year just for the hell of it. Just so they can't keep Higgins and Chase. I want to see that whole team just blow up.
Anyway, dude.
You can't have 3 number ones. Go kaboom.
Yeah.
Well, the Tyler Boyd's
3 number ones. Yeah, I'm saying have 3 legit number 1 receivers. No way. You can only keep 1.
I did see today
unless one gives you a discount.
I did see today that Los Angeles Chargers are talking about cutting Keenan Allen for salary cap. They'll save $15 million on their cap, and they're 25 over. So
I saw that.
Keenan Allen looked good in purple and black for 1 year.
Yeah.
I'd take him over DeAndre Hopkins.
Ooh.
Because DeAndre Hopkins is going to cost $20 million a year. He's not going to restructure his contract to come here.
Fuck no.
But hey, you got any final thoughts on the 30 for 30? I don't want to go down this road with the fucking team right now.
All right. No. I'm just going to shut it down. That was a cool thing. I'm about to watch it again. And rest in peace, Goose.
Yeah, R.I.P.
He
Goose.
was a star, and he was a star of Hard Knocks the following season, and
Lock
I
and
still
Shannon
watch that
Sharp in
series.
there.
I still watch that series. The Ravens. I'll
I
probably
got it
watch
on.
that
I got it
every
on
couple
DVD.
months.
It's
Yeah,
over on my DVD rack over there. Yeah.
nice. Give you a old nice for that one. But
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. That's cool, buddy.
Uh-huh.
I got the Blu-ray of the Ravens 2012 Super Bowl edition season,
Nice.
the America's game. Big old nice for that one. All right, we're gonna shut it down.
All right,
And not
guys.
tell people what the nice means.
Tune in on
We
Wednesday.
say nice when basically we don't give a fuck about what the other one just said. So if I say like, "Hey Matt, I got this," he's like, "Nice," I'm like, "Fuck you, dude."
Join us on Wednesday night. We're going to be doing a second go at this MLB preview show. No
You guys
pro
want to
ball
laugh?
players.
Watch that chat show because a pro announcer and a major leaguer for the Pirates and Rangers and a legit major leaguer were arguing about baseball politics for an hour. My camera and everything just died out, and I was so happy my equipment went down because I was just trying not to. Because it was just like baseball politics. Never talked about the Orioles. It's the only team everybody wants to hear about anyway.
We'll talk about the Orioles on Wednesday night. So
and the
that'll wrap the
Terps kicked
show.
ass the other night, by the way. Forgot that. Terps.
Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I'm not a real Terps fan to you, so I'm not going to say shit.
Yeah, he's not. Good. Shut it down.
All right, folks, we'll see you all Wednesday.